3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone. This is BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Tech Friday. I'm joined today by my co-host, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Tara Lena from California Cover-Ups, and we hope to be joined shortly by Ms. TJ Johnson all the way from New York City because attention is necessary, and she handles social media. So with that, we're going to get started, and we'd like you to sit back, hydrate, and get ready to receive information about how to do tech easier and the new tools that are available to you in business. So good morning, Fran. How you doing?
Good morning. Good
morning. Today we're going to be talking about some new ideas for Snapchat.
Hold on a minute. This Week in Tech, we're going to go there?
Yes, we're going to start with This Week in Tech. I thought you asked me to keep going.
Hey, Pat.
Okay, so we're ready. Are we ready for This Week in Tech?
Yes, we are.
We start with This Week in Tech.
Always, because This Week in Tech history. I'm a history buff. I just like history in general. I'd like to know what went on to cause whatever we have right now. So we're going to talk about today, computer code is protected by copyright. September 22nd, 1986. The U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California rules that computer code is protected under copyright law. The ruling stems from the case NEC Corp versus Intel Corp, which was basically a battle over who had the right to produce x86 processors. The ruling, while finding that Intel had copyright protection for the code in their processors, also found that reverse engineering code was also legal, and therefore NEC did not violate Intel's copyright in producing their own x86 processors.
Oh,
seems a little suspect to me. The ruling that code could be copyrighted changed the landscape for better or worse of software and computer development.
Mm-hmm.
September 23rd, 2008, the first Android is introduced.
Oh, here we go.
Google and T-Mobile introduced the T-Mobile G1, also known as the HTC Dream, the world's first Android-based smartphone. By raw sales numbers, today Android is the world's most popular smartphone platform. Who knew?
Who knew? Huh.
September 20th.
I have one of those somewhere. I wonder if it's an antique now. What year was that?
2008. That was 10 years ago. That was the year the iPhone came out. You know that, right?
So no. Okay. Yeah. So they came out with their Android phone.
Yeah. September 24th, 1979, CompuServe launches the first consumer-oriented online information service, which they called MicroNet. This marked the first time a consumer had access to services such as email. The service was not favored internally within the business-oriented CompuServe. Okay, Terry, I don't know what you're touching.
I'm touching my iPad. I was looking to follow the chat. I'm sorry.
The service was not favored internally within the business-oriented CompuServe, but as the service became a hit, they renamed the service CompuServe.
I think I remember CompuServe.
I do too. Information Service, or CIS. By the mid-1980s, CompuServe was the largest consumer information service in the world, and half of their revenue came from CIS. In 1989, CompuServe connected its proprietary email system to the Internet email system, making it one of the first commercial Internet services. However, CompuServe did not compete well with America Online, or independent internet service providers in the 1990s and lost its dominant market position.
Wow, AOL kicked somebody out.
And other people are returning the favor. September 25th, 1973, the first personal computer you never heard of, Microcomputer Machines of Canada, introduces their MCM70, a microcomputer, at a programmer's user conference in Toronto. Possibly the earliest commercially manufactured device that can now be considered a personal computer. The MCM70 gained customers at companies such as Chevron Mutual Life Insurance, NASA, and the U.S. Army. The company worked closely with Intel on the design of their computer and made very early use of the Intel 8008 processor, of which the basic design was used for the future Intel 8086. However, failing to generate venture capital in the Canadian market, the MCM70 never gained significant market acceptance, and by the time the Apple II and other early personal computers were released, the MCM70 was relegated to a footnote in history.
Pat Murray says, do you remember when AOL discs were everywhere?
Yes, we were using them as coasters.
Mouse pads, everything.
People were putting them on the wall, and you got one in the mail. They were marketing to us, sending them out in the mail. You know, get your email, and oh my God, and it ran on Windows. So yeah, I remember those days. September 26, 1973, the supersonic aircraft Concorde makes its first nonstop Atlantic crossing and sets a new speed record in the process, flying from Washington, D.C. to Paris, France in 3 hours and 32 minutes at an average speed of 954 miles per hour.
Oh my gosh.
The Concorde cut the old speed record in half.
I didn't realize it was 3 hours.
Yeah, so it normally takes 6 hours to fly to London.
That is significant.
Or fly to France, or from Paris to France. Okay, September 27th, 1983, Richard Stallman announces the GNU project. Promising a free Unix, Richard Stallman announces that he is going to write a complete Unix-compatible software system he calls GNU, which stands for GNUs, not Unix. Okay, this is a significant milestone in the history of open source and free software. Hey, TJ. Stallman would later found the Free Software Foundation. Okay, September 27th, 1998, Google's fake birthday. For some peculiar reason, Google has at times chosen the date September 27th as their birthday, even though it is more officially September 4th or 7th. Google has no explanation for celebrating their birthday on different days over the years, other than to say Google opens its doors in September 1998. The exact date when we celebrate our birthday has moved around over the years, depending on when people feel like having cake.
Oh, so like us when we have a birthday month.
Yeah, we just decided.
In case you miss it.
The celebration continues. In our last story, today, September 28th, 1997, Apple asks us to think different. Just a little over 2 weeks after renaming Steve Jobs interim CEO, Apple launches their Think Different ad campaign. Designed to reintroduce the Apple brand, the campaign was nearly universally praised by the press, general public, and advertising industry, winning several awards along the way. Looking back in context, Think Different was the symbolic start of Apple's resurgence from near collapse in the 1990s into the most valuable company in the world. The campaign was anchored around the now famous prose commonly called Crazy Ones, which was narrated by Richard Dreyfuss in the commercial most people are familiar with. It is commonly thought that Steve Jobs wrote. Okay, that was weird. Oh, never mind. Sorry. I saw something pop up on my screen. I'm like, what is that? Okay. It is commonly thought that Steve Jobs wrote Crazy Ones, but in fact, it was written by Rob Siltanen and Ken Siegel, who worked at Apple's advertising agency. Read more about the history of the Think Different campaign. I'm going to read it to you. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do.
I like that.
Yeah. Makes you want to go out there and pick up something and let's go. Okay. And that is your week in tech history.
Now, I missed the beginning of that, but are you, the last part you're saying, you're talking about Apple's ad campaigns or what was that?
That was the Crazy One ad campaign. That was the story. That was the poem, I guess is what it could be called, the verbiage.
But is it, no, I know about the ad. Is it something special about it that is mentioned today?
Yes, because it was today. September 28th, 1997 is when they asked us to think different. It's the first campaign.
Yes. Now I know the ad well because like I said, my background was advertising, so I did work with like one of the top 3 that's still there. But I remember that ad because it was Apple's ads were always so distinctive, going back to the 1984 one with the lady and the hammer and hitting the screen, throwing it at the TV screen. So, and I've also read, and we talked about the biography on Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, I think it is, the Steve Jobs bio, which is really good. If you really want to know about the how Apple was formed as a company in Steve Jobs' mind, read that book. So I know a little bit about it from both sides. So Steve's thing was always Apple had to be something different. It had to be special. It had to be stuff that no one else had or known or seen. So that's why when it came to advertising, and they still kind of a little bit because the new ads for the new iPhone are very distinctive. So that was something that Steve Jobs always wanted. So that's why that ad was different. Because the wording was different. There was a lot of argument about think differently or think different. They were saying, it wasn't grammatically correct.
Right.
But he didn't care about that. He was trying to get attention, and he did. So that's where that came from. That's Steve's whole MO was like, has to be different, has to stand out. It can't be the same old stuff. So here it is. We're talking about it. I guess it's 20 years. Talking about it.
And that campaign appealed to children of the 70s.
Yes.
Former hippies, former revolutionists.
Right.
Because we were all about change.
Well, people who wanted to stand out. But see, everyone
to rebel.
Well, here's the thing too. You should not be conforming. No one should conform. We're telling you in your business, you should not conform to everybody else. You can't. I was listening to somebody, and you know what they said?
What did they say, Fran?
Imitation is suicide. Because you have to kill off you in order to become somebody else.
Right.
Oh. Because you're not you, you're copying.
Yeah. So in order, that's suicide. You have to kill your dreams, kill who you are to become somebody else.
Right. Now you shouldn't copy. You should let that influence you to create a variation on whatever you saw.
Right.
Because that's what art is based on. Art is based on when you study, you look at the masters, but you don't copy the masters. You take their techniques and their insights. You filter it through you, and you create the art. That's how it's supposed to happen. You don't copy. You let it influence you to create your own creation.
Right.
TJ, I was looking at you. I was just thinking about when we met you in the subway. I was like, that's like, girl.
Y'all would have to be there.
Yeah, it just popped right out. I was like, okay, I can hear her just like she's standing right here talking to me. Girl, shake it off, girl. Be you.
It's good. So we got the tech history down. Now there's a lot of stuff going on in the news, so I'm gonna let y'all take that.
No, you go ahead, because there's lots of stuff. So where do we
have at it, Terry? We're gonna give you the platform.
Oh wait, before we start, I'm waiting on a very important delivery. That's why I was late. I thought it was coming, so I may have to pop out just in case it disappear.
Okay, is it the delivery? And okay, I'm not gonna ask what it is. Go, Terry, tell us.
You want me to talk about Snapchat real quick?
Let's start with Snap, because they don't get a lot of news. But okay.
Snapchat is getting into the retail business, allowing you to actually sell your things on Snapchat. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article. It says, as Instagram prepares to challenge Amazon, Snapchat is also going deeper into the retail game by making it easier to buy and sell stuff on its app. And I'm going to skip down here to some of the details. It says, in another significant update, Snap added a new feature that allows people to shop for items on Amazon by pointing the Snapchat camera at an object around them. The details of the arrangement aren't clear. Snap hasn't commented on whether it receives the usual commission from Amazon purchases made via its app, but the intent of that update is the same as the new app ads, to get us comfortable with the idea of shopping and buying via an app better known for self-destructing photos. Instagram has also been investing more in in-app shopping. The Facebook-owned app has been experimenting with linked ads, we know that, in its feed, and more recently in stories. It just recently began letting brands add shopping links inside its story posts. Instagram is also said to be exploring another dedicated e-commerce app that could compete directly with Amazon. We talked about that the other week. The new shopping-focused updates come at a critical time for Snap. The app has faced some recent declines in users, though it's still incredibly popular among teens, a coveted audience for many advertisers. If Snapchat can successfully cast itself as their preferred communications platform and an actual shopping destination, that could boost its standing in the eyes of investors and bring in a lot more revenue. So it seems that more and more people are getting into the retail game through their apps, and this is going to make them more viable. So let me read this paragraph. Collections will appear in the app between user stories, as well as in the app's Discover section. The new format, along with other advertising tools Snap just unveiled, will make it much easier for businesses to entice consumers to go from viewing photos to actually buying. That's what we like that. We're in business, people. We expect these ads to have a significantly higher engagement rate, says Peter Sellis, Snap's head of monetization. Sellis says the company has been testing the ads for a few weeks and that early results have been promising.
So pretty much they're moving the TV ads from the TV to your mobile device.
Yeah, they're going where the audience is, and they have to. And one thing that makes sense is, have you noticed that more and more major companies are shutting down retail stores? Although Amazon's about to open 3,000, but
and I think that it depends on the type of store you have, and
the experience,
the experience, and because you're going to have to do something really different if you are a retail brand to get foot traffic in your store. So it's not like days of old where I'm gonna open up my clothing shop and everybody's just gonna come. If you don't have a following to tell them where you are,
cover the plugs.
We've been talking about that for a long time, haven't we?
Have an audience following, or because Terry, we have an experience that we have to talk about. But TJ, you're right. You have talked about this a long time. Build your following, and then the people will come wherever you are. So,
yes.
Hey, Karen. So what's happening is that you have, I'm going to use a clothing. Lululemon, is that who that is? The one who has everybody is wanting her stuff, but she has a following first. Then she started opening stores in the mall, because I'm like, how is she in Arden Fair Mall? Because there are people are in there buying $80 leggings and $100 leggings, and I'm like, okay, these are the same leggings that Alibaba makes, but they are buying them with her logo.
Remember, they complained they were so thin you could see people's underwear.
Yeah. Yep. But the thing is, people are underwear. Okay, TJ, we're trying to keep it.
It's true.
It's
scary,
true. But the point.
It's true.
The point is, the people. She's got a following.
I'm sorry.
She has a following. She has the attention of the people. She built up a following, and now the following demanded that she have a retail store. Apple has a following. That's why there is a demand for it to have a retail store. And I'm telling you, you go into Apple anywhere, and it's almost standing room only. They have to check you in at the door because there's so many people.
Wow. Absolutely. And it's because when you come in an Apple store, there's an experience and there is tech support. In other words, training on how to use your device, which makes you a lifetime customer because you actually know how to use the tool.
Oh, wait. And they let the kids come in too. And they encourage the kids to play with the stuff. Other stores are like, please don't touch that. Get your kids and da-da-da-da-da. It's not like that.
That's the feeder group for the next generation of devices. And if they grow up knowing how to touch it and move it, I got less to teach. Plus, mommy can buy in peace because they're over here doing their thing.
Right. So they have a whole different business model where it comes to customers. So
when they say they're family friendly, they are
family friendly. Really family friendly. Kids are over there playing on they're playing with the iPad, and that tells me the quality of the product too, because the kids are swiping and drawing and doing stuff, putting it in their hands.
They're not scared to let them touch it or drop it.
No, nothing. And they smile and I'm as a parent, I'm like, stop touching, don't do. They're like, let them play.
Help yourself.
So we had an experience, and then we'll let TJ take the floor.
Yes.
We had an experience. We went to a local Starbucks. This is one of the older Starbucks in the city. And shall I name the location, or shall we just keep pushing?
No.
Okay. Anyway, we were in a local Starbucks here, and because we wanted to have a meeting, sit down, and get a little bit of stuff done, but we need to power up in order to do that. We went in there. And what happened, Terry? They have one table.
They had a center table in front of where they mix the drinks in the center of the room. with plugs.
All of the plugs were in the center table, and I thought,
built
great,
into the table.
Table was good, but there was no space at the table.
It's set about 10.
Yes. So then we looked around the room. Let's see, where else can we sit to plug in?
Right.
Okay, so we looked under they had a whole counter there against the wall where people had their laptops on like a shelf, like a floating shelf.
Yeah,
type of
a counter.
With spools. No plugs built in under, you know how usually they put the plugs under, TJ?
In the table?
Yeah. Okay. No plugs under, no plugs in the wall. So now we're looking for wall plugs. And so on the side we're sitting on, we see 1 or 2 plugs with white covers over them. You know how
outlets.
You seal up a plug, you don't want people playing with it. You cover it with a face plate. That's it, face plate. So that face plate's over it. It wasn't something you could flip open and that wasn't happening. Okay, it was screwed on and covered. So now I'm going to the other side of the Starbucks and I'm looking along the wall. So that face plate is covered. Okay, so then they have another hallway where there's seating for high boys. So I'm going down there. Covered. I'm like, okay, Francine.
This ain't normal.
Is this a video moment?
Okay, yeah, Terry didn't pull out the video and do a Periscope on that one, but I was like, okay, so what is this telling us? They did not want us in there. They didn't want
hanging out. It was not our third space.
Right.
No, that particular, and see, that's not the experience I have had with any of them. I hadn't been to that one in a long time.
Oh, and we had to have a bathroom code too.
Well, that's normal.
The bathroom code was 5 digits.
But they're all 5 digits.
No.
Yes, they are, because the one in New York was 5 digits when we were in Jamaica. They're 5 digits in Jamaica too. I didn't mind. I didn't mind the code for the bathroom because I prefer not to I don't mind.
I'm comparing it to the next experience.
So we went in there, and so that one was not welcome at all. They didn't say, hey, when you came in or nothing. It was just like, what is going on? And so we're like, okay, we're going to have to go somewhere else because we really needed to plug in. So we went down the street to, they have them all in the same locale. We went down the street to the brand new one that just came in. We walked in there, hey! And we're like, whoa, this is different. Plugs everywhere. I said, oh, so this is, okay, so wait, the other people didn't want us in there.
There were no codes on the bathroom door. And they wanted to know, do you want me to bring that to the table? What?
Totally different experience. And we're like, oh, we got plugs. We had plugs on because there was a couch-like thing with plugs in the couch. They had USB plugs. They had other type of plugs. And I was like, this is nice.
Plenty of table space.
Right.
You had choices where you wanted to sit. It was parking. It was just a totally different experience. And the people, the employees were so much more pleasant, more relaxed. They weren't out in the parking lot vaping.
So I'm saying that to say that older one had been there it was one of the first Starbucks that had come to the city, and they're acting like it. Do you understand what I mean? They're
taking their customers for granted.
Right. I was like, okay, next, whoever the manager is or whatever, is that the culture? It has to be the culture, because I'm like, it was not pleasant. Every other Starbucks that I've gone to is pleasant. Not that
I never experienced it. I've never been in a Starbucks where the plugs were covered like that.
Wow.
Not when they want you to come sit and buy.
Exactly, because that's the whole idea behind going to the cafe and having coffee, whether it's Starbucks or, any of the other cafes. They have free Wi-Fi. Because they know that people need places to work, especially here in New York. People need places, a desk space, a space to put their laptop or their device and do some work.
Right.
So, of course, they're going to have plugs around. They're going to have free Wi-Fi because the more time you spend in the shop, the more you're going to buy. You're going to have coffee. You're going to have another cup of coffee. You're going to have some type of muffin or bread or dessert or whatever they have, sandwiches, whatever. The longer that you need to be there.
Well, so they're not killing us, okay?
Yeah, so that they're saying, well, you're not welcome. And guess what? I'm not going to go to that one. I'm going to go to the other one. That's more inviting and want to bring it to you. And, that all of that stuff goes into the experience, whether it's Starbucks or a retail shop or whatever, because like I said, that, we talked about retail clothing, like, Toys R Us. Like, there was no need for Toys R Us to go out of business, but the management chose not to get with the times and look at what's in front of them and hung on to some old idea instead of getting on the bandwagon, being on Snapchat.
Yes.
And having the shopping experience that they missed out on.
They didn't make a shift. Look, they could have just put ads on Fortnite,
Snapchat, anything.
Because that's what the kids are. And
I remember as a kid, Toys R Us commercials were everywhere. Everywhere. There was, but they're relying on TV. And like we said, it's moving away from TV. Ads are moving away from TV because people are annoyed.
Parents are moving away from TV.
Yes. So the kids don't watch TV either.
We're grandparents.
My teenager does not watch TV at all. Nothing she watches on TV. Nothing.
I don't even watch TV. So I'm just like, okay, I'm streaming on that thing.
I'm looking for because I'm like, okay, I have a show that I want to watch, but I have something else to do. It better be on a streaming service so I can watch it when I'm ready to watch.
Exactly. Because I like Elementary and I like some other stuff, but I can't get to it. NCIS. And I'm like, okay, I need to see this later.
But I got a bone to pick with CBS because you have to pay for their app.
Right. Or here's the thing, or if you either that or you're going to need to get YouTube TV.
Right.
Because if you get YouTube TV, then you can skip all of that and you can still go back in and watch.
Yeah, YouTube TV has the DVR feature, which is great. I love it. But I'm just saying, I have Apple TV. I'm paying for Netflix and Hulu and this and that. Why do I have to pay another $5, $6? I don't want to, even though people go, oh, it's a small. It's not small if you've got other things going on.
No, and I should not. And see, I can understand it. And that's the challenge. It's a free channel.
ABC has a if I miss a show from last night, I can go and pull up my ABC on the Roku or the Apple TV and watch it.
Right.
Exactly.
I was like, don't do that. CBS is like, don't be trying to wring every little dime out of us. And
Fox has one. ABC has one.
And I can go. With Sling, I get all of Fox and all of that, and then Hulu plays the day after you can watch it on Hulu. So,
but see, the thing is, like, if I missed, like, Murphy Brown started again, I wanted to see it and I missed it. But where am I going to watch it now? I can't. I'm not paying CBS, and it's not on Hulu. It's not on Netflix.
She's like, I refuse to pay.
I'm not.
I refuse to pay.
I'll have to catch a clip somewhere, or somebody will put a clip on YouTube or what have you. But that's what I'm saying. That CBS, you missing the ball because CBS is free. You're free. Why are you making me pay to see a rebroadcast?
Yep, and it is. And so here's the deal.
Well, see, my concern is the reason for cutting the cord was because I wanted to save money. Now, if I'm getting into all these little boutique offerings.
Disney's coming out with their, they want to come out with their own streaming service.
They do, and it's out. Stuff. Disney has one. Disney Now is out.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's out.
So that's another pay. I got to pay for that.
Exactly. So you get this a la carte menu. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that with y'all. I'm going with the generalists and figuring it out.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I'm sorry for the parents. I mean, well, because like I said, I have a teenager. She doesn't watch Disney. Even though there's teen stuff on Disney, she doesn't watch any of it.
Look, the parent is saying, you need to watch that on YouTube. We're not doing that.
But what I'm saying is she has no desire for Disney. Nothing that they offer.
Exactly.
So Disney on Hulu or whatever for them to satiate that little Disney.
No, and I mean they'll throw some old stuff on there, but they're not giving you the prime stuff, and they're going to lose audience for just by doing that, trying to branch off to their own little world.
Yeah,
and coming off of Netflix or coming off of the other places where they were, they're going to lose market share because now we're not in the happiest place on earth because you haven't put it in front of where the people are. I'd rather go to Netflix and be able to go all around over here and find everything than to have to go outside. Now I got to go outside and get another streaming service because I can't find you.
And I got to pay for a ticket, basically.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
No.
It's the same thing that happened with, what was that thing I had? Movie Pass. Now you're going to restrict when I can go, what I can see, what time of day I can see it.
Yeah, so Movie Pass is still around? I thought they had shut down.
They're still around. Ask me, am I still around them? We broke up.
And see, that's what I mean. Everybody's leaving them because they changed the rules.
They changed it from the thing. They had what the people wanted, and then they changed what the people wanted and tried to get everybody to stay around. No. And then some of the movie theaters are trying to have their own version of it. I was like, you guys would get together and all y'all split that pie and let the customers have what they want.
Yeah, because most of the times that I would go to the theater, there would be like 2 or 3 of us. I'm like in the middle of the day. You running the movie anyway. At least I bought popcorn. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, the movie chains, they will either buy Movie Pass or they have their own thing going.
And but they didn't think of it.
No, they didn't. It's like Blockbuster didn't think of Netflix, what they should have. It was a natural fit, but they didn't think about it because they're holding on to the old ways of doing it.
They could have shifted even after the fact. When they saw that Netflix was gaining traction,
they laughed.
Feature.
They laughed.
They had the audience.
They laughed and said, "Oh, nobody wants a movie." And then, people, and I think I heard someone talking about it online. They said Blockbuster was saying that people like to come to I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk. He said, Blockbuster executives were saying people like to come to the store to read the back of to read the movie synopsis on the box. He said that's why people would come to Blockbuster. They would get in their car, drive to the store to read the back of to read the synopsis of the movie and then decide. Whereas they weren't looking at IMDb had already been started where you can go there and you can search any movie and get the synopsis and the cast and you can get information about the movie online, which means I don't need to go to Blockbuster. I can read the information and go over to Netflix and they'll have their own description and then I can make the decision.
That's why you need people who keep up with trends on your focus group or do a focus group.
And this is why you need to have a younger mindset in your business. When there's a bunch of, older, whatever, people setting their ways on the board.
Who don't know it's available.
Right. They're not listening to what's going on. Yeah, they're not paying attention to what's going on in the world. What the teenagers, and I'm like, you may not like the teens and millennials, but they drive what you're going to do in a few years. And they are the parents. Facebook. Case in point, Facebook. When Facebook first started, it was college kids only. Look where we are now. Grandma's on it. There you go. Yeah. Watch the kids. That's what I said. Watch the kids. And, we talked about Snapchat. Yeah, everybody over 25 probably there's not a big market for it, but under 25, they are on Snapchat because there's private chats, there's private sharing, it's centered around group sharing.
And they like to talk to one another in the little group.
Exactly.
And
it's like, remember, you had to get a second line for your kid when you had a phone before the internet and all that stuff. If you wanted phone calls before call waiting, you had to get a second line for your kids because their friends was calling. If you wanted a call get a phone call. You had to have 2 lines. Now they use Snapchat, and you don't know what they're talking about.
Which is scary.
So now Amazon has realized, hey, how do you get the young people on Amazon to shop?
Oh, shop through Snapchat.
Hook up with Snapchat. And if you think kids can't buy, as a teenager who has a credit card, the parents gave them, or, they have a line of...
Teenagers have been buying since the beginning of time.
Or they have, and then Chase has the, I forgot what his card, that's a refillable card that you fill from your account, and you give it to them, and it's a debit card, and they can shop till they drop. So if they've got one of those cards, and they connect to Snapchat, they can shop.
So Terry, listen, teenagers have been buying stuff since infinitum. When I was in high school, I had a job.
What I'm saying is this is company executives telling themselves that kids don't have money to shop, but they do. They do, because the parents feel like, okay, instead of me getting cash and giving the kid an allowance every week, I get the refillable card. I go into my Chase app and I transfer $20 or whatever the amount is, and the kid has the card. The shop until the limit, there's no more money on it. So I'm just saying that they're not seeing that. They're not seeing that. Kids at 12, 11, 13 have this little card that's connected to the app. How do you think they're buying stuff on Fortnite? Fortnite is making like I heard billions of dollars off of add-on sales to Fortnite. Buy, you have to buy little things. My daughter asked me, "Oh, I need to buy this little thing for the character." So you have to buy these coins or the money that the app uses, and then you use that money in the game. So Fortnite does it. A lot of these. That's how these games are making money. They're free to play or free to download. But if you want to add on or level up or move to another area, you have to buy coins.
You mean, okay. So, like Mario Brothers, you used to get coins, but these coins you need to pay some real coins.
And each game has a different name for it. I was watching this story about Fortnite the other day about how they're using popular dances that kids are doing, the popular dances, Millie rocking. I don't even know the names. They was listening. They're like, I don't know any of these games. I mean, dances, but the dances that the kids do on YouTube and then teenagers do it around the world, they were putting these dance moves on the Fortnite characters, and you had to buy the dance move so your character would move to that. See, but here's the kicker. The rappers and whoever had created, there was one rapper, I guess his name was Millie because the dance was Millie Rock. He created the dance like 2 years ago, and the kids have been doing it. Fortnite took the dance, applied it to their characters, and are making money off of something he did, his dance. So people are telling him he needs to sue, but they find out that you cannot copyright dance steps. You have to copyright a whole routine.
Like a routine?
Right.
Yes, it has to be a whole, for instance, Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Yes.
The whole thing is probably copyrighted, or if they haven't, they need to. That's a whole routine, because there's, they do different things, and when you see the Thriller dance, you know what it is.
Right.
So that could be copyrighted, but if you're doing just a couple of steps, you can't copyright that, and you can't make any money.
Wait, so we can't copyright the Carlton?
No.
No. Okay.
Because that's just a couple of steps. It had to be a whole routine. Like I said, like Michael Jackson's whole Thriller.
Mm-hmm.
If they haven't copyrighted it, they need to. I'm going to check that after
the choreographer.
I guarantee you. Look, Mike was a good businessman. That stuff is copyrighted.
He was very smart. Michael Jackson was very smart.
I can see where that would be difficult, like copywriting Swan Lake or copywriting,
because the way that the copyright lawyer explained it was like, you cannot copyright dance steps because it's like words.
Oh, okay.
So a step is like a word. You can't copyright a word, like a common word.
So you couldn't copyright like the foxtrot,
or you can't copyright the moonwalk.
Right.
But you can copyright the Thriller choreography.
Right. And the moonwalk, you probably not, because it's just one dance move. But like I said, Thriller was a whole Thriller was a movie.
Yeah.
So the
like a video.
Zombies are doing different things, but everybody knows how to do it because they do it in a choreographed
It was
way.
choreographed.
So I can't copyright the electric slide.
No.
Or okay.
Not really.
No.
I mean, it has to be some, because everybody does. There's different versions. People do it different, so I don't think they could do that. But like this thing, Thriller has a whole choreography that everybody knows, that most people know. Mm-hmm. So that could be copyright. But getting back to the Fortnite in the game, that they're getting, people are getting angry because this game is taking something that's popular that the teens are doing and making money off of it, but the originator of the dances, they cannot make money off it. And we're talking billions of dollars, not millions.
Well, then they need to drive the traffic over here and get private lessons.
I mean, I don't know. It was fascinating for me to look at. I think because I watch Cheddar a lot, so I think I was going on Cheddar.
Yeah, which
is like Wall Street news for millennials. So it's
exactly. I love Cheddar.
Yeah, Cheddar's great. It's not like watching I like CNBC and I like Bloomberg, but they are very dry. So if you're over a certain age, you can watch it. But if you're a millennial, Bloomberg ain't cutting it for you because they're too dry. So yeah, I just
like the format over there on Cheddar.
Right, Cheddar's more like they're more cool and hippie, and the stories that they talk. But the stories because Fortnite is this big game that the kids are playing. They're making money off of it. They're not selling the game because you can get Fortnite for free. They make money off of the add-ons, the things that you have to buy for your characters in the game.
I know because my 11-year-old grandson, for his birthday, I gave him some game cards from
GameStop.
No, just like this reloadable card that he
gift cards.
Gift cards from Best Buy, and he used it immediately for his Fortnite because he's here on the weekends and he has control of the TV. So, and he's got his headphones on and he's talking to his friends, and I can hear his friends through the TV, and now he's all excited because he's been asking me to give him access to my credit card to buy these things.
Yeah, because you have to, in order to progress in the game, there are certain things you have to buy in addition to buying like outfits. It's like having a doll. Remember, you had a doll, you bought outfits for different things.
Yeah.
But it's online in digital form. So if you want, like I said, the dances was one thing they were talking about. If you want to have a character, like a side character that helps you, you have to buy it.
Oh, a sidekick. You can buy a sidekick.
A sidekick, yes. Or if you want to move up to different levels, it's all kind of things in there, but they're making I think it's over $1 billion a year.
My question is, are they public?
Are they what? Oh, Fortnite? I don't know. But I would be careful because remember something called Pokemon, the Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
Ago that everybody went crazy over. Is anybody talking about that now?
No, it's a trend.
Right. So they trend. So Fortnite is hot now, but because what was hot before Fortnite was
the Clash of the Minecraft, and then there was the Farmville. There's all kind of stuff that comes and goes and comes and goes.
But the one that like everybody, like all the kids, the teens was like.
Carlos is over here talking about the fact that it's all about monetization.
Yes.
They built their platform for content monetization. Hey, Carlos. Candy Crush. He mentioned Candy Crush. Remember that?
Yes.
And then when you got to a certain level, they squashed you and you had to pay, and it was so difficult you couldn't score. It's like, really? Angry Birds.
All of them, everybody put something in there where you had to pay up in order to continue playing. I refuse to pay for what is it? Some kind of crossword puzzles and stuff. Are you kidding? If you want to see if you want to reveal the correct words or whatever, I'm like, it'll just be wrong because I'm not paying you for
exactly. That. So you pay up to level up. So just put your hands up.
Carlos, what do you, Carlos, can you put a link to your because I saw something that you were doing.
Yeah, he's working on something new.
Yeah, so put a link in there. We might need to have you come on the show on Monday for you to talk to us about that if you're available. So let us know if you are available, and maybe we can get you on the coffee talk show so we can talk about your new platform.
Yes.
Because I would like to know. And I know there's like a bit of a delay. So anyway.
He says, I have built a platform like Hulu and Netflix for content creators that is focused on monetization.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. Are you available?
More.
Yes. I'm going to reply. Are you available on Monday? This Monday?
He's available right now.
Yeah, well, I don't know because we're getting ready to close right now.
Yeah, we're getting ready to end.
To get on over an hour. But let us know. We're going to start chatting with you, okay?
All right. So while we're doing that, since I didn't mention any of the stuff that I had.
Go ahead and finish. That's why.
Okay. So real quick, the founders of Instagram left the fold. They are no longer involved with Instagram. They're no longer involved with Facebook. Okay, they resigned from the company they built because, and this is the statement. It says Instagram co-founders Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger are resigning from the company they built amid frustration and agitation with Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg's increased meddling and control over Instagram, according to sources.
But he bought it from them, and don't that belong to him now?
Yes, but see, this is the thing. When the purchase was done, there was probably some agreement in there that would allow the founders to have some say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
because they didn't just sell it and say we're workers. They sold it and say, okay, we're part of the board, we're part of decision making, we're part of any kind of core changes to the app. We have to have a voice. I'm pretty sure they put that in there.
Okay, but here's how corporate
no longer be a value match, Fran.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So here's how corporations work. They are not normally going to keep you around because they bought it. They want to do something they want to do with it. And you no longer own it.
Right. But what I'm saying is when they made the agreement to sell, those are the things that as the seller, I can put in there. And if they agree to it, it's in there. That's probably why they stuck around, because it's been, it was 2012.
Right. So they've been there for 6 years. So
Carlos, Instagram was started in 2010. What? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to read this comment from Carlos. He says, the original agreement was that they would not mess with the privacy policy. Facebook has now changed that.
Well, they had to change didn't they have to change the privacy policy?
It says, Pat says they have a voice, but they're not the boss.
Right.
Well, which is what Terry just said. Yeah.
They're not the boss, but they have certain This is what happens when companies are acquired. They have a meeting and they agree to terms. You put your terms to what you want. And then Facebook says, okay, we agree with it or we don't. That's how things happen.
And here's the other thing. If the law changes, you got to change. I mean, I'm sorry what the agreement was, but the law changed.
Right. So and we're not privy to that information. I'm just saying that's probably what happened because they stuck around so long.
Well, and then some stuff has changed, and now what we agreed to that no longer is valid because of changes. We're not going to get to do that.
And then part 2 of this is that there's another story that Facebook is still messing around with your data. That in the fact of your 2-factor authentication number, that they're doing some wonky stuff with that people are upset about. That they're using that number with Facebook ad targeting that they didn't say that it was going to be used for. So Facebook is still doing privacy stuff and not letting you know what they're doing with the data. So that's, I mean, I'm not saying that these two things are tying in, but like Fran said, the beginning of the year, look what happened with Facebook.
So I got a question. Okay, because of what happened last week with Verge, who reported this story?
Oh, this story right here. This is TechCrunch.
Okay, because here's the thing. Remember what we happened with Verge and the lady jumped a gun and her facts weren't right.
No, but see, that was just the reporters jumping on something that was unsubstantiated. But they're saying, but see, Facebook put out a statement saying that they use the information people provide to offer a better, more personalized experience on Facebook, including ads. We are clear about how we use the information we collect, including the contact information that people upload or add to their own accounts. You can manage and delete the contact information you uploaded at any time. So they're saying that you could opt out of this two-factor authentication using the numbers.
So pretty much is that they told you up front that they're doing this. Just like, remember on Snapchat a while back, Snapchat said when you read through the agreement that you had to click in, they said, we're going to look at your stuff and then the stuff of the friends who are connected with you. They told you that up front.
I remember that.
I was like, what? But if you didn't read it, then you can get upset. They are telling us up front that they're going to do this. And the people that started Instagram don't like it. But you don't own it.
Well, not anymore. Carlos says the difference is that Facebook wants to access the data to sell it to companies.
Exactly, because that's how Facebook makes money, off of ad sales, selling you, having you buy ads. So they need more. The more data Facebook has from its users, the better it is to sweeten the pot to get people to buy ads. But see, the thing with this last thing is that this number is specifically for two-factor authentication to log into the account. They didn't say, I'm not sure, I'm going to check, but it shouldn't have anything to do with ads, or they should say specifically up front when you set up the number for the 2FA is what it's called, that we will use this for ads. We will use this number for ads.
You mean like your phone number?
Yes, you can use a phone number. This is to have a second level of security when you log in to keep people from hacking your Facebook account. It's a big problem on Facebook. So you set up two-factor authentication, which means that they send you a code. When you want to log in, they send you a code to your phone, or you can use an app, or there's different ways, but you have to put that code in order to log into the account. That's two-factor authentication. So they've been using the phone number and put that number in the pool of data that they use for advertising.
Okay, now I get that two-factor authentication with my bank when I'm doing mobile banking. It sends me.
Two-factor authentication is just another level of security, whether it's your bank or Facebook. Lots of apps are doing it now because of this whole data breach thing with Cambridge Analytica, giving people, making them feel safer. So there's a two-factor level, so no one hacks in. You feel safe because it allows you to have that extra level of security. You don't have to turn it on.
Okay.
When you do, it's usually a number, or Google has an app, the Google Authenticator. That's a good app to use that will put all of these two-factor authentication things into one app.
But
now Google has its own privacy thing. So there's people that don't like Google. So you have to decide what you want to use.
And the thing about it is, there is no privacy. So stop it. And if you want to use these platforms, you need to understand that there is no privacy with Google. They're giving you a bunch of stuff, but they're getting a bunch of data from you. And how do you think they're going to get paid? This is like Fortnite. You use it, you're going to pay. It's the same thing. They have to get paid. There's no way, like there's no such thing as, where there's no fees for this particular credit card.
Free lunch?
No, the credit card, the credit card company tells you there's no fee for this. And I'm like, no, the credit card company got to get paid somewhere. They're not just going to give you money for no reason.
True.
So
they're not. There's a cost to everything. Free isn't free. Facebook is free, but it's really not, because guess what? They want the data, the information that you put in when you sign up for an account. They ask you name, address. Did they ask for address? I haven't signed up in a while, but they ask you for name and information, phone number, and then there's other questions. They ask you, what's your favorite books? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite shop? What's your favorite TV?
That they can
all of that goes into the data pool where they go to the advertisers when you're getting ready to buy ads.
Oh no!
And they say, "Oh, you can target this person who likes Fortnite. You can target this person that likes Game of Thrones. You can target this person that read the book by Steve Jobs, the Walter Isaacson book we talked about." Because when you go in and you tell Facebook this, and this, what school you went to, all of that stuff is in a big pool of data that Facebook likes to pull from when they're trying to sell ads. Say,
but you get the use, so it's a trade-off. There's an exchange. You get to use the platform to do your live videos, to connect with other people, to do all of these things. In exchange, they need to know where you went to school.
So there's a cost, free cost. If you don't want to pay the cost of giving up your data or access to your data or whatever, then stop using the app. It's as simple as that. Or they have to, Facebook has to go to a payment situation where you pay a monthly fee.
And I think this is a better way of doing it, because you have control of what information that you're giving them. You don't have to say everything. You don't have, like, I don't even think I filled in.
Don't let them know what your favorite book and movie and TV show and restaurant, and when you go to your favorite place, and all of that information is gathered in the data pool that they pick from, and they say, "Oh, look at this great pool. We got all of the stuff here. Oh, we got champagne over here. We got hors d'oeuvres. We got this. We got that. We got John Legend over there." So, you know, they want to make it enticing for people to buy ads. Because otherwise, it's like, why?
This is what television used to do. The Nielsen people would sit down and find out what you were watching on TV. And then they would say, okay, we're going to put the Chevy commercial in front of this audience on this channel at this time.
Demographics, because with Nielsen, there was a book you had to fill out when you watched the TV show, and you had to answer certain questions. Now they had a box, and now they do different things, because I used to work for Nielsen. So I was on the consumer product side, not the TV side. So on the consumer product side, the way that they got data was they had samples in each state, and we would have to go to the store and the sample and gather data from the owners. That's how you know when Coke says they're the #1 selling soda in America. They got that from Nielsen, because Nielsen has people that goes out and gets that data and sends it back to Nielsen, and they compile it. So that's how it worked with consumer products.
So let me see if I can summarize put this all together. It is exactly the same thing. We just taking Nielsen and walking around place to place to place and just put it on the internet. And it's digitized.
You didn't know before. Everybody's heard of Nielsen, but you didn't know how they really worked. How everything worked in the background. So they had actually reps, field reps that would have, in the state of Alabama, this section, northern Alabama, southern Alabama, and then these stores that they, went to because of based on the neighborhood situation, the income, the level of education. So all of that information, instead of having people go out and go to the stores and this and that, it's all in the app now. It's all there.
So they was profiling us way back.
Oh, all the time. Always. It's just that you didn't know it. So when you saw the commercial that said Coke is #1 or Pepsi is #1, you never thought about how they determined that, right? Because there's store samples, and each state has different stores, and they know which store they want the information from. And so they would look at sales data, foot traffic, the neighborhood, all that stuff. All that stuff Nielsen did.
Sacramento was a test market for a lot of people's products. We were like number 19 on the television, something, but this was the place people would come to try a new product. They would try sodas.
The demographics. The demographics was what they they wanted,
right,
because that would be a good sample for the rest of the country.
Right.
Like they wouldn't go to Idaho, or well, some people would, depending on if they want to concentrate on the Midwest, they would go to Idaho instead of California and New York, depending on what kind of sample and what kind of information and what kind of demographics they want. But like Fran said, if they went to California, that's pretty much like going to the biggest place where the biggest sample spread is, and because they know the smaller area or the rural area would be different, it would kind of like trickle down. So that's why they would, go to that.
Yeah. So well, this is just really good, Terry. We're gonna cut out in a minute because it's Friday. I
just looked at. I was like, oh, we still talking.
So
Carlos to say that they didn't have time.
Well, no, because Carlos, I want to give Carlos more time to do that, and where he has a fresh audience, and we expect him to come in. That's what I want to do. And Monday would be better to do that because it would be dedicated to what he has to say. So anyway, the whole thing is happening is that you are being tracked. So stop. Facebook, Snapchat, everything that you get, they're getting data from you.
If you bought when you bought an appliance, a large appliance, there was a card in that package of stuff, of papers, a customer survey, a consumer survey, that was data. It's just that you filled out a card and you mailed it back to the company. And
that's why they want you to please register your washing machine. You can go online and register your washing machine, so that they try to make it sound like you wasn't going to get a warranty if you don't do it.
Yes.
They can't do that.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
but they made it seem, that's copywriting. That's the wording to convince you that you have to.
Yeah, I need to register my product.
Stuff. But all of that, I mean, think of all of those things is now in Facebook. When you go to Facebook, they got all that information when you sign up, and when you like something, or when you say you watch this show, or you go to, you've gone to Italy, or you traveled, or all of that stuff. Sorry. What did I say to wake her up?
Sometimes it sounds alike because
I didn't say A.
I know, but if you said something that sounded like it will wake up and talk.
I'm like, I know. I'm like,
I didn't call you. Okay.
What did I say?
So,
but I mean, that's just. I mean, and I know some of the stuff because, like I said, I had the Nielsen experience and then the advertising stuff, and the business stuff and the tech stuff.
So it's really nothing to be afraid of. Just don't give out any information you don't want out there.
Don't want to, when you go to the, you used to go to the mall and they say, oh, win a free trip too, and then what did you have to do? Fill out a card and put information down.
Like, how much money do you make in a year? And
you don't think about it, right? Because you want that trip.
Trying to win the car, yeah.
The car, the trip, whatever big ticket item they're giving away. Because guess what? The company really wanted your data. That trip didn't cost them anything. That car doesn't cost them anything in comparison to the value of the data that you just gave them.
Right. And so information, I was going to say information trafficking is probably the biggest thing right now. People want your information.
And one thing I want to say before we end, going back to the Facebook, the Instagram founders leaving, it gives me more ammo to say that there's going to be a combination of Facebook and Instagram. I've said it like 3 times already.
Okay, TJ is make sure you mark the date. September 28th.
I already said it.
2018. I said it. TJ said it. They're going to combine.
They're going to combine because Facebook owns Instagram, and now that founders are gone, the original people that kept the the vision,
the culture, and the vision.
It's just one more sign for me. I got really happy when I heard the news.
That's because that's kind of like when Steve Jobs got kicked out and they tried to run Apple without him. They had to bring him.
It's a good thing because the Disney company came out of it. Pixar.
Pixar came out of that. Yeah.
So there you go. I just wanted to say that because I've said it like 5 times. Nobody. I'm like, well, not nobody. I've had like Alfredo was like, no, it's not gonna happen.
We believe you, TJ. We know it's gonna come to pass.
It is.
They gonna, and I mean, why wouldn't you? Why would you have two things going on? I just don't know how many people are going to stick with it.
I don't know. I don't know how well it's going to work. I don't know if it's. I'm just saying that I've got this feeling that they're going to make a combined app, keep the originals, but they're going to make some new thing. That Facebook has to innovate, and they haven't innovated, and they need to get people on their side. They need to get people to love them again.
And you also need to innovate or become Kodak or become Toys R Us or become Blockbuster.
Well, the dating app should help. But right now you can only do it if you're in Colombia or Brazil or somewhere.
Yeah, they're testing it in Colombia, I believe. So,
but it's a good thing that they're testing it before they go wild with it, and it. Let's just see how it works.
You have to test. So,
well, yes. And I think every market is different. So what works in Colombia might not work.
True.
Whatever. Okay, but people, I like the idea of a test.
I do too. Just test the market first.
Testing works. You need to know before you go all out swinging for the fences with something new. You have no idea. So get an idea.
Yep. So I don't know, Carlos. Are you available Monday, 8 a.m. or 11 a.m.? Because
he said no up here earlier in the chat. He says I will not be available Monday.
Okay, no problem. We need to find out when we can
schedule for next Friday.
Yes. Can we schedule you next Friday if you're still here?
I don't know if he's still here.
Or the next Monday, either the next Friday or the next Monday, because that way it gives you more time to
because I would like to have him come in. We'll reach out to him and see if he can be on next Friday. Cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you everybody for watching this. This has been a insightful conversation. Hopefully I'm sure you got something out of it. And everybody watching on the replay, we'll see you next week, starting of a new week, a new month. And TJ will be back. And TJ will be bringing us some social media stuff next month. Coach Karen's got some new
I got a lot of ideas.
Money mindsets. We're going to have some great guests on Mondays. Again, we'll be back here on Fridays talking tech and health on Thursday. So thank you everybody for joining us live. And we just appreciate you. So with that.